Hi, Kevin A. Davis with Inked Pub, INKDPUB.com. We're open for subs on Hidden Villains, Duos, Rebels, and Non-Corporeal 4 right now. We are taking some pitches for fantasy, horror, lit RPG, and LGBTQ plus novels and nonfiction. Today I have Tim Lewis with us. Good morning, Tim.
Hi, Kevin.
All right. Uh, you were in an anthology that just won an award. What was your story about?
So the anthology was non-corporeal, and the story I wrote was called Adivino. So I knew the anthology was coming up. I knew the general premise of it, and so I was looking for a change of pace. So I went to a local restaurant to imbibe in some inspiration. And while I was there, I was just sitting at the bar. I had my computer up, and I'm kind of tracking notes and putting stuff away when a couple sitting a couple stools down from me were talking, and they were talking in Spanish. And my nephew is Puerto Rican, so that kind of started the whole idea, and it kind of turned into a story about family and growing up and the relationships between that, and then ties to Puerto Rican culture and how people act. So the story is basically about uh, a guy. He's a private investigator, or he becomes a private investigator, because at one point during his life, when he collects a will left by his grandmother, she leaves him a small trinket, a little token, say a coqui frog, which is a native symbol of Puerto Rico. And so when he puts this on, he's able to communicate with his dead abuela, or grandmother. And so it just gave him that ability to talk to her. And so now he would go on adventures with her, and she runs co-pilot to him as he investigates stuff. And so people think that he's a fortune teller or that he's clairvoyant, but in actuality, it's his grandmother that no one else can see feeding him information. And so as they progress, hijinks ensues. Uh, she's kind of a square little grandmother. She's actually based a lot on my own mom, who, as she got in her years, she's got a very I don't give a damn attitude. And it was just delightful to be around her with all of her jokes and just everything she'd do. So it was a lot of fun to write. Threw it up there, and also got to throw a couple of references to my niece and nephew in there that they really appreciated. So,
Nice, nice.
excellent.
So speaking of private investigators, you wrote a detective story, or you're working on a detective story. Where are you in that process?
So we had a fun when we were at a Jordan Con earlier this year. Me and the co-author, Kevin Davis, yourself, uh, we talked to a publisher, pitched them the idea of the story, and they said, "Great, send me 3 chapters. I like where this is going. I want to hear more." Uh, so knowing the world, just didn't want to shove over our draft. So right now we finished the story a couple months later, and now we have it out for a beta review to friends and family and a couple other authors we know, to give us just some feedback, and then also engaging an editor, because we want a good, clean product before we send it over. So I'll be seeing them here in another month or so, and kind of talk to them about the book and see if it goes from there.
Good. Well, let's wish us luck.
Yes.
Um, so any present work in progress? Anything you're dipping back to Fuego or any of your other projects, or you got something new in mind? What are you working on?
So, like any good author, I have a lot of open projects, so I can spread my procrastination across many efforts. So my focus right now is a short story for an anthology coming up. So I want to get into the anthology duos, the Hidden Villains duos anthology. So I've been in all the previous ones, so it's almost a little bit of a point of pride, hoping that I can develop a story that ultimately catches uh, the initial readers and gets them there. So I'm building that out, and right now it's dealing with reincarnated souls, and how those souls can actually speak to each other over time, and how they relate, or at least that's the idea of the genesis right now. So who knows what's going to happen as I write more on it this afternoon. But it should be a lot of fun trying to tie those pieces together. I like stories that have an element of time travel in them, Uh, Nothing as complex as all the time travel movies that we see, whether it's Avengers, Back to the Future, or so many others. But I like items that tie to the past and have relationships and things that tie together and kind of show that thread throughout the ages. I just think that's a lot of fun tying those pieces together. So I'm going to see how I can build that into a single story and see what comes of it.
Yep. Yeah, I read a book called Lost Alchemist. It was through one of the book clubs that my wife does, and it's about people at a person who finds something of another person. So in a form, we're getting the story from the past and the present, and it was delightful. I think some of those can just be absolutely delightful. All right, so anything in your future that you've got highlighted as far as a project that you're looking forward to that you haven't started yet, something that you're looking at, anything tickling out there?
I've got two right now that are drawing a lot of my attention. The first is I've have 9 published short stories. I have the co-authoring novel that currently working, and I have several novels that are out there, but they're all very short. The longest one has been Fuego, and that one's drawn me the most interest in two parts because my wife and I and our family, our big thing is whenever we go on vacations, we generally don't go to amusement parks or things like that. Our big thing is the national parks.
Right.
So anytime we're planning a big trip, that's what we did. So like 2 years ago, we went to the Rocky Mountains. Here at spring break, we're talking about heading back to the Smoky Mountains. But several years ago, my nephew got married in Northern California. So we decided to extend the trip with the kids. We stayed there. We went down to Yosemite. And if you've never been, it is by far the most awe-inspiring sights. The valley itself is amazing. Um, uh, the mountains and the other areas around there, the Mariposa, where all the redwoods are, it's just a wonderful area to go check out. And of course, while we're there, we saw a lot about what's going on with the people, the indigenous people that were there. And that kind of prompted a story called Fuego, where I'm building on a little bit of the Native American culture there, and then building a fantasy element in it with a character that has uh, capabilities that are imbued by them uh, by the spirits. And so what it does is it deals with the elemental nature of power, so fire, wind, earth,
Yeah.
those kind of things. And so our character is he has an elemental power, but then he comes across his protagonist who is named Fuego, and they go through a series of adventures in and around the Yosemite Park. And so I wrote that. It was one of the first novels I started writing. And I've always been told, it's like you always throw away your first novel. But this one's still been lingering in the back of my head, and I just can't let it go. So a recent movie has come out that's also based in Yosemite. It's slightly similar in that there's a supernatural element that takes place there, but very far off. And I thought, oh, you know what? This might be my hint, something to get back to. It's got a different thread. I really like that. It deals a lot with the Native Americans, and that's been the hardest part about the story. Is I wanted to make sure that I was authentic and didn't appropriate too heavily. So there's just been lots of research, reading lots of other stories to make sure I understand the people, who they are, their belief system, and make sure I do it properly. So the
So
after I got
Fuego it is.
Fuego, it is.
All right, good. So what are you reading? What do I know you travel, for work and stuff and Audible and you do different stuff. So what are you reading right now?
So a lot of my reading comes from we have an Audible account, and so my wife, she's the big heavy reader, so she buys everything, and then when she sees something, she's like, "Oh, you need to listen to this." So right now, I've been going through. I just had a couple long trips over the past month, and I was traveling with my son, so we've been going through the Dungeon Crawler Carl books.
Oh,
So
fun.
those are quite entertaining. The one I just picked up now that she recommended was Superpowers. So I just got through like probably the first 5 pages or so listening to that. And that looks like be a good, powerful story. Of course, Murder Bots. That's a nice little trend that's going around. Heather and I on another long trip going to a national park. We did the first Murder Bot book, so now I'm kind of digging in to go listen to the rest of them. And those have been the big ones.
Okay. So of the books you've been reading, anything you recommend to readers out there?
So the one that there's those books that I mostly listen to books because when I'm at home, things distract me. So going to work in places, those are always the best. And there's those some books that you find yourself sitting in the parking lot just a little bit longer to finish another chapter or another section.
Yeah.
So the biggest one for me was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Uh, and that was actually becoming quite popular because I think it's going to become a movie. But I listened to that about 8 months ago or so, and it was just really engaging. The storyline, the people, the characters, and it's really powerful when you get a story like that that can basically just take two characters and build everything around such a limited cast. So
Nice.
it's very strong and entertaining story.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely something that's on my to be read list. Um, all right, so we're getting close to time, but you've been in a lot of anthologies. Any tips for people trying to get into anthologies? Any writing tips or suggestions that you might give them to, get their story looked at?
So many. First and foremost, and everybody will say this: read the requirements.
Hmm.
Uh, Publishers are getting so many stories that they have to go through the mad the slush crowd. And because they have so many, they're almost looking for a reason not to choose your story. So make sure you look at the requirements, follow everything, that your story meets the intent of the article. If they have anything, or the anthology, if they have anything in there, they say absolutely none of this, whether it might be infanticide, murder, or something like that, that your story has none of that. That's a really quick way to get your story ignored. The other major thing is make sure you have a draw. Uh, know the publisher that you're going for. Look at the other stuff that they have published and kind of get a feel of like what they look for in their other stories. A lot of them will be looking for more character development, things that get to the emotions of a people, and less about how fanciful you can make a story. Because people are more drawn to characters than they are to the environment or what happens. So those are the two big things to look for.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time here today, Tim. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye.